he is a now emeritus professor in management science. Mm-hmm. But he has the most amazing network in the business community, ranging from companies in the Netherlands in sustainable energy technology to Volkswagen to Toyota. Wow. Really, it's a different story, but he's really very well networked, and these people know him, he knows them. The problem is he's kind of a last of the Mohicans.
That's sad.
And you see that in academia, of course, like we all know, the emphasis is very much on publication, publish or perish. It's a reality that we all know, and it's very difficult to escape from. But I think at a deeper level is that there is a selection mechanism to select those people within academia that perform well on academic tasks, but not necessarily on business acumen. Right? It's just a different character. If I look around me in ASML or whatever technology company, particularly at, for example, a purchasing department, I've seen quite a few purchasing departments of these high-tech companies. Obviously, it's a completely different profile that I encounter there than if I look around me at my academic colleagues. Right. And they're both sets of fine people with amazing competences, very valuable, but I could not transplant either of them in the other place. And it really works both ways. Mm-hmm. I cannot, even if they have an academic degree, I cannot put a purchasing manager in the management faculty and expect it's going to work. Because both sides of the deal they're going to go mad within 2 weeks. And they know it, And it's the other way as well. My academic colleagues, I would not curse them by trying to transplant them into the business world. Nobody's going to be happier for it. And I think that makes it difficult to bridge the gap because that's really a different language.
Mm-hmm. But the gap is just going to get wider. The more we try to say, okay, you stay in your shoes, I stay in mine.
The gap is getting wider.
It's getting wider. Yeah. And I started to notice that on both sides, exactly.
Yeah.
And and not to the intention of either side, at least. That's how it seems to me.
No.
So it must be some symptom coming from this, how the system is operating at the current moment.
Yeah, if you ask me, but I'm not saying this as a social scientist, but just as a lay person looking at what happens around him, and I would say it's competition. Right. We are competing each other just until it bleeds.
Yeah.
And we do this in the business world, and we do this in academia as well. So it's really a matter of scarce resources. And it means that we have managed the slack resources out of both these sets of organizations very systematically. Mm-hmm. There are very little slack resources in academia. So there's just very little time for the average university teacher, assistant professor to actually go out and visit his contacts at Microsoft or whatever. Right. You just don't have the time for it. If you have 15 thesis students and they're doing 15 researches at 15 different companies, and you have maybe 30 hours per thesis to read it, to second read another thesis. It's a lot of time that goes into just supervising the student. And ideally, you would like to actually meet up 2 or 3 times with the organization as well to discuss how's it going, what is actually your knowledge need, and what kind of future projects could we do. And the thing is always that if you're at a thesis defense, theses are a good example because that's where we really see interaction between the business world and universities. If you're at a thesis defense and the internal supervisor from the company is also present and you sit, together discussing the grade and how did the student do. And always I ask the question, so because usually it's a fun project and you have a good contact and a good rapport. And so shall we do another one, if the opportunity arises? And they always say, yeah, that would be nice, call me. But in 90% of the cases, people are not being called.
Right.
Because it's very difficult to bring these things together. You get students assigned to you and you never know if they actually have the interest that fit with. And we do try, but you don't have the time, for example, between courses or between thesis trajectories to maintain these contacts. It's very, and that is what you should be doing. I mean, if you're working in academia, and I'm really talking about management science because that's closest to home for me. But you should be doing your account management.
Yes, you definitely should.
That is the whole key. I mean, you should be at least maybe half a day a week should be dedicated to actually going to these organizations, meet up with the people that you've known for maybe 5-10 years, discuss how business is going, what kind of challenges they're running into, how the industry is changing, and what kind of topics arise from that you could actually assign students to, where they can actually add value. Because if you just kind of wait until a student pops up and they have an idea and you just try to parachute them into an organization, there's going to be mild interest on both sides.